Welcome to Petrie Bikes.
Hi guys, welcome back to Petrie Bikes channel. My name is Melanie, and today we're going to be covering some tips on basic at-home maintenance that you can perform. Keeping your bike in tip-top shape will keep you safe on the roads and help your bike roll smoother. So we're going to go over some of the basics using the ABC quick check method. Break it down. It's pretty simple, regular things that you should do at least monthly, if not more. We'll give you some tips on tools that you should have on hand and how to perform each check mark of that ABC check. So let's go get started. Okay, I'm going to begin with the bike up in our repair stand, but all of these maintenance tips can be performed with the bike down on the ground or even flipped upside down if you're doing some chain maintenance. I do highly recommend having a repair stand in your house. That way it's easier, everything's at eye level, and you can perform a lot of the maintenance tips with the chains a little bit easier. So first up we have in the ABC quick check, we have A, which is for air. Keeping your tires pumped up at the recommended PSI is crucial for a smooth rolling bike ride, as well as to help prevent pinch flats. Pinch flats happen when the tube gets stuck between the tire and the rim if the PSI is too low, and it can burst your tube. If you do get a flat out on the road, or you pull your bike out of storage and they're not just low, they're just completely flat, you want to put some new tubes in, check out our other video on how to fix a flat. The PSI on the tire is marked right on the side, and each tire has a usual range or recommendation. If you keep it towards the higher end of the PSI, it will create a faster, less resistant rolling. If you keep it towards the lower end, it will be a softer, more cushion ride with a little bit more resistance. So depending on where you're riding and what conditions you like to ride in, just make sure you keep it within that range to help prevent the pinch flat or overinflation. So the PSI recommendation is written right on the side of your tire. Often there's a range, and you want to stay within that range to help prevent pinch flats or overinflation. If you like a faster rolling ride, keep it towards the higher recommendation. If you like it a little bit softer, but you will have a little more resistance, keep it towards the lower end. It is normal to lose between 5 and 20 PSI a week, depending on your tire pressure. Higher pressure tires like road bike tires will lose more quicker than, let's say, a mountain bike with a lower pressure. So a good rule of thumb is to make sure you check your air pressure every time you ride. There's two different types of valves. Schrader, like you find on your car tires that you're used to, and there's also Presta. The Presta valves usually work on most at-home floor pumps. They can work with either the Schrader or the Presta, but if you're using an at-home air compressor, you want to make sure that you use a Presta valve adapter to get them inflated. Let's check our tire pressure. You can use an at-home floor pump with a gauge, an at-home air compressor with a gauge, or a bicycle pencil gauge to check your air pressure. Go ahead and make sure you inflate it to the recommended PSI. And you're ready to roll. You also want to check the sidewall of your tire often to make sure that there's no dry rot or any holes in the side or in the top. Make sure your bicycle tread is not getting too thin. Make sure you can still see if there's tread on there. And just inspect the tire and make sure that there's no nails or thorns or staples that are just surface stuck into the tire. Next, let's move on to B. B is for brakes. Whether you have disc brakes or rim brakes, you want to make sure that you're stopping properly. First, give the lever a squeeze. Make sure that the lever isn't too close to the handlebar grip. If it is, you may need a brake adjustment or a brake bleed if you have hydraulic disc brakes. Then give the wheel a spin. The wheel should be moving freely. If you have rim brakes, it's easy to see if the wheel is in true or not. If you see the wheel stopping at the brakes in one specific area, you may need to bring the bike in for a wheel true. Make sure that the wheel is rolling smooth, apply the brake, and make sure that it stops firmly. If you have rim brakes, go ahead and check out your pads. Make sure that there's a lot of life left on them. Make sure that they're not getting too thin, and make sure that they're hitting the side of the rim properly, that they're not too high or too low. Okay, now we'll move on to C. C actually stands for 3 different parts: chain, crank, and cogs. The chain itself is one of the most important things to keep maintained on your bike. You want to make sure that you keep it well lubed. A well lubed chain will roll a lot easier, shift a lot easier, be quieter, and just provide a better ride. You want to make sure that you use a chain-based lubricant. We love ProLink, that's one of our favorite ones here, but you can use another wax or Teflon or silicone-based chain lube. Just don't use regular WD-40 or 3-in-1 oil. In our bike wash video, we actually demonstrate how to degrease using the Park Cyclone tool, which is an awesome way to get your chain clean, and then how to re-lube using the ProLink. The chain itself is one of the most wearable parts on the bike. It's hard to say how many miles you can get on a chain because everybody rides a little differently, and it depends on the conditions you ride in, how hard of a rider you are, and how well maintained that chain is. A rough estimate is between 1,500 and 2,000 miles for chain replacement, but it can happen before or after that. They make a tool, maybe a Park tool, that can actually check what we call chain stretch. The chain isn't actually stretching, just the pins and the bushings are wearing out and making it more elongated, which makes it not mesh with the teeth on the cogs as well, and you'll have a lot of slipping and not shifting well. To check the chain, you can purchase one of the tools or you can stop by your bike shop and have them check. But the tool will actually measure and make sure that there is no premature wear, or make sure that there's not any excessive wear. If you change your chain often before it gets to excessively worn, a lot of times you can avoid having to change the freewheel or cassette back here at the same time. But the chain and cassette do wear together. So if you wear out your chain, odds are you'll have to change this as well. There is a tool that we can use to check the wear on the cassettes as well. But just eyeball, make sure that there's not any loose spaces between the cogs. Make sure everything is pedaling and shifting well. And to check your crank, grab both of your crank arms and make sure that there's no play, no rocking back and forth in the bottom bracket. Make sure everything is nice and snug. And also, just check if you have a 3-piece crank, just check these bolts and make sure that they're snug as well. Now we'll move on to quick check. The quick part of it refers to quick release skewers. The quick releases on the bikes you want to make sure are in the closed position. You don't want to ride with them open, which is extremely dangerous. So make sure that the nut is snug and that the lever is in the closed position. That goes for anywhere that there is quick release on your bike. Check your front wheel, your rear wheel, and your seat post. The check part is to go through and make sure all the bolts on the bike are nice and snug. So you grab your Allen wrench. Most common are 4, 5, and 6 throughout the bike. And just make sure that everything is nice and snug. Make sure you check your handlebar stem and handlebars. Make sure if you have any rear racks or any accessories, you check them as well. Okay, so that is some basic tips on how to keep your bike running smoothly that you can do at home. We do recommend that your bicycle have a yearly tune-up done. You can check out the different tune-up packages on our website under the service tab at petriebikes.com. So thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye!